Hello and welcome to our channel where we explore the world of Epoxy Resin art. In this video we will be showcasing unique Epoxy Resin wall clock designs that you can easily recreate to add a personal touch to your home decor. These designs are perfect for those who love the look of epoxy resin art and want to incorporate into their daily lives. So let's get started. Geometric shapes wall clock. We use epoxy resin to create different shapes and colors on the clock face, making it a perfect addition to any modern living space. Marbled clock. This clock features a marble design with different colors of epoxy resin swirled together to create a unique pattern. This resin is poured into a silicone mold that is shaped like a clock, and the clock mechanism and hands are added once the resin has curved. Rainbow wall clock. Using different colors of epoxy resin, we create a beautiful rainbow gradient effect that adds a pop of color to any room. Wood slice clock. This clock has a unique rustic look with the epoxy resin poured onto a wood slice to create a one-of-a-kind design. The resin is tinted with brown pigment to match the wood, and the clock mechanism and hands are added after the resin has cured. Ocean-inspired wall clock. We use blue and green epoxy resin to create the look of the ocean with added seashells and other ocean elements for a realistic and beautiful effect. Abstract wall clock. We pour different colors to epoxy resin onto the clock face, creating a beautiful and unique abstract design that is sure to impress. Flower wall clock. Using epoxy resin and flower petals create a stunning 3D effect that looks like real flowers and are blooming on the clock face. Glow in the dark wall clock. We add glow in the dark powder to the epoxy resin, creating a clock that will light up your room at night and look stunning during the day. Galaxy wall clock. This clock has a cosmic design with dark blues and purple mixed together to create a galaxy effect. The epoxy resin is poured into a silicone mold that is shaped like a clock, and the clock mechanism and hands are added once the resin has cured. Metallic wall clock. Using metallic epoxy resin, we create a clock that has a luxurious and modern look, perfect for any contemporary living space. Ocean wave clock with blue and white colors blended together to create a stunning effect. The epoxy resin is poured into a silicone mold that is shaped like a clock, and the clock mechanism and hands are added once the resin has cured. Geode clock. This clock has a beautiful geode design with purple and pink colors blending together to create a stunning effect. The epoxy resin is poured into a silicone mold that is shaped like a geode, and the clock mechanism and hands are added once resin has cured. Rainbow clock. This clock features a bright and colorful rainbow design with different colored layers of epoxy resin poured into a silicone mold that is shaped like a clock. The clock mechanism and hands are added once the resin has cured, and the finished clock is a true work of art. Gold leaf clock. This clock has a luxurious look with gold leaf flags mixed onto a epoxy resin to create a stunning effect. The resin is poured into a silicone mold that is shaped like a clock, and the clock mechanism and hands are added once the resin has cured. Terrazzo clock features a trendy terrazzo design with different colors of epoxy resin mixed together to create a speckled effect. The resin is poured into a silicone mold that is shaped like a clock, and the clock mechanism and hands are added once the resin has cured. Crystal clock. This clock has a beautiful crystal design with clear epoxy resin mixed with different colored pigments to create a gemstone effect. The resin is poured into a silicone mold that is shaped like a clock, and the clock mechanism or hands added once the resin has cured concrete clock. This clock has a modern and industrial look with epoxy resin poured onto a create concrete base to create a unique design. The resin can be tinted with different colors to match your decor, and the clog mechanism and hands are added after the resin has cured. Agate clog. This clog features a stunning agate design with different colors of epoxy resin mixed together to create a beautiful geode effect. The resin is poured into a silicone mold that is shaped like a clock, and the clog mechanism and hands are added once the resin has cured. Leaf clock. This clock has a natural and organic look with real leaves embedded in epoxy resin to create a unique design. The resin can be tinted with different colors to match the leaves, and the clock mechanism and hands are added after the resin has cured. Starry night clock. This clock has a dreamy and celestial to create a starry night effect. The resin is poured into a silicone mold that is shaped like a clock, and the clock mechanism and hands are added once the resin has cured. Rainbow swirled clock. This clock features a fun and playful design with bright colors swirled together to create a rainbow effect. The epoxy resin is poured into a silicone and mold that is shaped like a clock, and the clock mechanism and hands are added once the resin has cured. 3D wave clock. This clock has a unique 3D design with epoxy resin poured in multiple layers to create a wave effect. The different layers of resin are tinted with blue and white pigments, and the clock mechanism and hands are added after resin cured. So thanks for watching, and please subscribe to our YouTube channel for more videos.